Hello, this is James from Mode Lighting, and in this video we're going to be covering DMX in eDIN+. DMX is mainly used for RGB or RGBW type fittings so that you can do colour mixing. In eDIN+, that's available from the I/O module. In a config page here, if I go down to the input section here, I can find DIN I/O 8 channel and add one. And it comes in as 8 inputs to start with, but because it's a configurable unit, we can change what it can do. I'm going to click the spanner icon here, and then I'm going to scroll down here and I'm going to hit Enable DMX Output. This DMX Output uses channels 7 and 8 from the outputs of this unit. If I go over to this diagram, scroll down, what we can see here is, outputs 7 and 8 will be DMX plus and minus, and then there'll be one common ground as well, so you'll have 3 cores for DMX. As long as that's all wired up and ready to go and is daisy chaining throughout all your fixtures. And to start with, if they're all set to address 1 as a base start point, that should all work. Back inside the configuration here, in this first case, I'm only going to tick for address 1 as a start zone, and I'm going to make it RGBW type fittings to start with, and I'm going to hit OK. Now that we've got that initial bit set up, obviously make sure that your address matches what's actually on your I/O module. Then I'm going to add a bunch of scenes as tests. I'm setting 5 scenes up to start with, and I'm going to select the correct colors I want to test with. As RGB lights are made up of 4 chips, the red, green, blue and a white chip, I've made up all 4 of those colors and along with an off. The only thing I would check at this time, user 1 out of the box will be making a mix of red, green and blue to make white instead of a separate white. So I'm going to just change that now over in the control and adjust section. I'm going to go to adjustments, and then I'm going to adjust the color palette of that I/O module. User 1 is the one for the white, and at the moment, as we can see here, it's at 255 for all 3 of those colors. I'm going to change that to be just 255 on the white and hit OK. I would now go to the control page, and then I would try each of these colors individually. And if all of the fittings on the DMX are all set up as address 1, they should all get the exact correct color at this time. And you will have proven that your DMX wiring is ready to go. If this point is a fail on your site, the fixtures and the DMX needs to be checked before moving on. Once you've got to that point and you know that all of the fixtures are working, you can add up to another 6 zones if needed. In this example, I'm going to only add 1 extra zone. I'm going to say its start address is going to be address 5, leaving the 4 addresses for the first fixture as is. And again, I'm going to say this is another RGBW set of fittings. Now if I hit OK, we now have the option for having up to 2 zones of color, and they can obviously be different from each other. So I would be very tempted at this point to change the addresses on the second zone fixtures and then see that they react independently of the first one, so I know everything is set up the way I need. Once that's all working and tested, you can obviously go in here and select other colors as you need. That will be no problem. You also have some animations in here, some rainbow colors, hot colors, cold colors, and there is also one you can make in here which can be of the set of colors that you define rather than these predefined ones. To adjust that, we would hit the spanner icon here on the I/O module. We can see the user color section here, and we can see what colors are being used in these moving scenes at the moment. And obviously we can define the colors that are going to be used. We've also seen earlier that we can edit these colors if needed. We can hit OK on that. So yes, to make it run a sequence instead of just a solid color, it's as simple as picking the rainbow solid, for example, and now when that scene is played, that animation will play. The only other question that comes up is, can you speed that transition up and down? That's actually governed by how long this fade time is, so you can make it faster or slower by changing the scene fade time in here. Other things that do come up, you can break color and brightness. So you can have scenes that just select the color but don't affect the brightness, and then they're turned on and off without affecting anything else. And again, this can be up to 6 zones. If you're feeling limited by the color palette, that is no longer now a problem. as if we were to go through to the adjustments page here, and then went to the adjustments and then went to our red scene here, we now have the option to manually adjust the RGBW values. And then when we hit OK now and go back to our configuration, that scene now has a custom RGB color that's separate from the palette. This now opens you up to having as many colors as you possibly need, rather than being stuck with the fixed color palette. So again, going back to the control on the adjustments page here, we've seen what the basic version of the adjustments looks like. We can just go straight in and start picking the color and the white value. But if we change from there and we enter the advanced menu, in this advanced menu, pick color, all our choices are either going back to a palette color or doing a custom hue or a specific RGB value, and hit OK. And that should be all the basics of DMX. Thank you very much for listening, and please like and subscribe for more content.